This is Super Saturday, powered by Hollywood Bets.
Welcome to the second half of Super Saturday, powered by Hollywood Bets. Good to have you along, and really cool to have a good friend in studio. But I tell you what, somebody who knows her way around her skill, her profession, and the sport of rugby. Rene Naylor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jeremy, and good morning to all the Heart FM listeners. It's very exciting to be here on Super Saturday.
Oh, wow. We can use that as a promo. Cut that immediately, Jody. Okay, listen. Have you officially retired as Springbok team physio?
So firstly, I've been saying...
Don't cry now, please.
I'm going to try my best not to. As Cullen's been saying to me every time, Mama, just wait to cry at home.
Yes.
Wait till we're at home. No, I don't really like the word retired because it means you're retreating from something and you're done. Your future's behind you.
Yeah.
So for me, it's, yes, I would really still like to be part of sport and part of rugby with the skills I've acquired, but I'll no longer be the Springbok physiotherapist.
And you must have stories as long as both your arms. I mean, surely.
But I've got short arms, eh?
Goodness me. But I mean, Rene, I've gotten used to either at live sport or at televised games, seeing you there and thereabouts along the touchline. So why have you stepped away from the team?
So I think it's important to say that I've always been on a fixed term contract.
Sure.
And those contracts have always been 4 years duration.
Yeah.
And my contract now, I think it's my fourth contract, has now comes to an end in December, and they were not going to renew it.
Okay.
And so that's why I took time to reflect. Obviously, it hurts not to be there because this is the one job you decide, you can't make a decision. So for me, it was almost good that the decision was made for me. Okay,
because you might have wanted to do another term and another term.
Exactly. And sometimes, we have to accept that it's time for new people and new young faces to take the position. And I'm very, very happy about the decision.
I've got to tell you that I'm also uncomfortable with the word retired, particularly when it pertains to you, because I think you've got to have a certain look about you when you retire, and you don't have that look at all. Just so that we're clear, how long were you with the Springboks? Is it English? Yeah. So, yeah.
I started with the Springboks with the coach Peter de Villiers in 2008.
Gosh.
And I did take a break. I was with Peter de Villiers 4 years and then 4 years with Heineke. I was not with Alistair Coetzee for that period. I wanted to take a break and be a mom at home.
Yeah.
And then I returned when Rassie said, do you want to come and win the World Cup? And I said, yes, I'm there.
I like when he asks like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And I had no choice because I was missing rugby so much in that period that I took a break that I am actually very scared about how much I'm going to miss it.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to embrace the new chapter.
Rene, tell me what it is to watch rugby with you. I mean, like, I can tell you now, like, so when not at a game, although I'm badly behaved at a game. So, okay. But I mean, for example, at home, we're having a braai, all my friends come around, we braai, we watch the game. And then there are people there who don't know the sport very well, but they're caught up by the fact that the Springboks playing, or whoever's playing. And so they like that excitement. But then there are people who actually know their rugby, and you can hear from the conversation, what are you? Can you watch? Is it too much for you?
No, I definitely watch rugby. I enjoy rugby. That's the reason I got involved in working in rugby, because I enjoy watching. And it's interesting for me because obviously being on the inside, you understand that there's so many variables that are at play, whether it's going to be a win or a loss.
Yeah.
You know that something could have happened to a player the previous day, why the player's having an off day. So you have sometimes a little bit of insight. And I think the biggest change for me has been that before I was very much Western Province, Stormers.
Yeah.
But as I became involved in the Springboks, you become supportive of rugby and you are excited when a player you've worked with is doing well. So if he's at the Bulls or whether he's at the Sharks or plays for the Free State, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're excited that South African rugby is doing well.
Yeah.
And that's the same if you watch URC and they were playing in a French club or in a English club.
Yeah.
You are excited for their performance.
082-222-1049. You've got a question for Rene Naylor, then please send it through to me on that number. It can be a text message. It can be a WhatsApp. There's a message here from Jesse. Now, the way the question is phrased leads me to think that Jessie might be a lady. I'm not sure, but let's ask the question anyway. How was it in the beginning of Rene working in a male-dominated sport? Did they welcome her with open arms, or did they give her a tough time? Who was her favorite coach to work with, and who was her favorite? See, people ask these questions, Rene, not me. Who was her favorite coach to work with? Who was her favorite player to work with? And Rene, I want to wish you well, and I want to thank you for your service. There we go.
Thank you so much, Jessie. And I'm assuming it's not Jessie Creel.
No, it's not Jessie Creel, no.
So in the beginning, when I started, I did not have a hard time. I think that there were, the previous physio sort of teased me and said, I don't think Bakkies Berta is going to do your core exercises that you're planning to do.
Okay.
And I was quite firm.
Yeah.
No, he will do it.
He must do it.
This is important. And I will, so it was I had to be firm and make sure that I was able to, fulfill my profile of preventing injuries.
Yeah. And I mean, that in effect is what you're there for. You don't want them to be injured. So do this so that you don't get injured.
Exactly.
Here we go. Listen, guys, she's not going to go away for a while. Is this the physio lady from Chasing the Sun? Is she leaving the box? No. Why? Wow, people are very invested in this whole thing. As I say, Rene Naylor is that lady from Chasing the Sun, and unfortunately, she is leaving the Springboks. We're going to talk to her about all of the experiences, all of the people she's worked with, all of the places she's been, and the fact that she too has got 2 World Cup medals in her top drawer at home. Listen, we've got lots more opportunity for you to get involved. 082-222-1049. That's the number. Send it through to us now. Love this one. It's Depeche Mode and Everything Counts on Super Saturday with me, Jeremy Harris. Rene Naylor, my guest in studio, as we talk her way through the Springbok team physio position, which she has now relinquished. 16 years, Rene? I can't actually effectively since 2008, as you say. Just run through the coaches with me. It was, as you say, Peter de Villiers,
Heineke Meyer, and Rassie Erasmus.
And I mean, you obviously worked with Jacques as well.
Yes, and Jacques, of course.
Yes. And particularly those last 2, because of course it culminated in the winning of those 2 World Cups. What was that environment like? I mean, what was the experience like?
That was phenomenal, Jeremy. It was unreal how we brought it together, and it wasn't quick. It took a time to get there. It was each year we had 600 days that we were actually preparing, to get to that World Cup victory. And I think the success comes in that we got people to work together, people with different backgrounds, different languages, different religions, something that I think South Africa just loves about this team, that we've shown it can work. Hard work, but it can be done. And I think that was special about Jacques and Rassie, putting that together and also making sure that everyone felt they had an impact, whether you were playing first starting lineup or whether you're on the bench. I mean, our bench became phenomenal, the bomb squad.
Yeah.
In what team is it when you're on the reserve? You are so important.
You're as important as the starting 15.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And we found even the guys that are not playing as important. So I think that was special. Everyone could dance at this party.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to a party where you can't dance. You're uncomfortable to dance.
Yeah.
Because then you don't perform at your best. And I think that's what Rassie did beautifully, making sure we could all dance.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I like the way you put that analogy. In fact, Corbin says, how did it feel before the games knowing that you are part of the best team? I mean, in your heart of hearts, knowing that you are part of the best team and the opposition really has no chance.
That's an interesting one, because I remember in 2019 when we got to the final, many of my friends back home sent me messages and said, don't worry, we're so proud of what you've achieved. You've got to the final.
Yeah.
And I thought, but No, you don't just get to the final. You have to win. We planned to win. That was always the plan. And, after that, it took a while to sink in for us that we're no longer the underdogs. We are actually the champions.
Yeah.
We are on top, and every team's going to come at you with their best shot. And I think that even though you know that deep down, you always respect every opposition. That's one of the lessons I've learned.
And I mean, I think that's absolutely fair. I think that you want to go into those contests going, we are going to play our very best rugby, and we will take you at face value, and we'll beat you or we'll lose to you. That's just the way that sport works. I remember talking to Natalie du Toit, who was an Olympic swimmer, who said to me that while she competed against other people in the pool at the same time, she knew that she could swim that distance in a particular time. And she knew that if she could swim that distance in that time, she would be the fastest, because she knew the other times for the other, competitors. So she knew what she could do. And I mean, I guess that what you're saying is, you knew what your players were capable of.
Yes, and I think that comes down to game plan. And we all have a game plan, whether you're a family or a business or a team. You've got a game plan of how you're going to beat your opposition. And you have these sets of principles, but you've also got a mindset. And I think the foundation for us was that mindset that you've done your homework. Yes, of course, there's things that are uncontrollable. You can't control the weather, the bounce of the ball, a ref decision. Yeah. But you prepare for all of those mishaps. That's what our Friday sessions are about. The what ifs. Yeah. What if things don't go according to plan and you get a yellow card? What are we going to do? So you prep as much as you can. You've studied your opposition and you go in with confidence.
I like that. Rene, you are loved. I can tell you now, you are loved. The people on this WhatsApp line are going to break it. Okay. But I'm going to read you some of the stuff while it's still working. Kim says, Rene, you are an inspiration. My daughter absolutely adores you. She is in her final year studying at UWC. She's doing BSc Sports Science. Please can she come and work for you, says Kim. Gareth says, wow, I'm really going to miss seeing Rene on the touchlines. Epic pick or footage I've seen of Rene was that last World Cup, Rene hugging her son. Oh, she's going to cry now. Winning World Cup number 4. I mean, it goes on. Hold on. Paul says, hey, Jay, I had the privilege of working with Rene at Newlands as a medic on the field. I wish her all the best for the new chapter of her life. Morning, Jeremy and Rene. As I'm talking, it's already scrolling. We salute you for the work done at the Springboks. We will miss you. All the very best for the future ahead. This is Kevin out in Tableview. Jeremy and Rene. See, people just sending all the time. This is not from Simone. Rene, we always saw you shouting on the sidelines. What were you shouting at the players? Get up, she was saying to them. That's from Siraj and Simone. I mean, that's a fair question. You were always very involved in the play. Are you going to cry now?
Jeremy, I'm really humbled by these beautiful messages. Yeah. And I mean, it's been going on for the past 2 weeks, and I'm really so grateful. The love I've been shown, yes. And it feels like a big warm hug that I'm getting from South
I think you must take it to heart. You must take it to heart, yeah.
And I'm really grateful. And what am I shouting to them on the field?
I don't know. What are you shouting at them? Why are you shouting at the players?
It's various things, but you always have to know that every player is different. Yeah. Some respond well to you shouting at them. Some of them tell you before the game, Rene, I want to hear you. Yeah. So, I take responsibility for the defense. You don't want any try scored on your side. You want to do what's right. Yeah. I remember having a game like that with one of the doctors in the early days. If a try scored on your side, it's your fault. Yeah, you didn't organize the defense. But yes, we have to communicate. We are basically the link between the players on the pitch and the coaches in the box. Yeah.
So now there's a break in play. Somebody is down injured. You're allowed to come on the field. Is that the only time you're allowed to come on the field? I mean,
that's a trick question, right?
Is it? Okay.
Well, we are allowed to come onto the field if there is an injury.
Okay.
It's different to football, where you have to be notified by the ref when you can actually enter the pitch. So we can enter the field of play if there's an injury.
Yeah. And so now you come onto the field, somebody is down. What's happening in your ear? What is Rassie or the coach is saying?
So obviously it's a team effort, myself and the doctor. would be at the player. Whoever gets to the player first would start assessing the player, chatting to the player, finding out what's wrong with him. The person that follows on, say for example, I'm assessing, then I would basically, the doctor would communicate with the coach and say, Rene's finding this, and we think we can let him continue playing, because the most important thing is to make a decision.
Yeah.
Is he going to continue to play? Does he have to come off the pitch? And if he's got a knock, and it's not that serious, let's watch him for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's almost an orange. We'll just see how he goes. How does he perform? And obviously the player also has a say and says, listen, because in our strategy is always give your best for the time you're on the pitch. Don't save yourself. We don't play. We've got a bomb squad.
Yeah. Empty the tanks.
Empty the tanks.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, there we go. Listen, as I said, she's not going anywhere. She's going to be here for a while. Rene Naylor, Springbok team physio, talking to us. I mean, I've only asked 3 questions. You guys have asked all the other questions. But we're going to be talking to her. If you've got more questions, by all means, send them through to us on 082 222 1049. This is Super Saturday with me, Jeremy Harris. Rene Naylor, of course, in studio with us right here on Super Saturday. Rene, there's a question. Let me just get to it. Here it comes. It's coming.
Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning, Rene. My question is, you've been in rugby now for
did not have a hard time.
quite a long
I
time.
think that there were.
So if you had to estimate
me and said,
South African or any other country, what player do you think
and I was quite
is
no, he will do
the
it.
best player? I'm not putting in a spot,
I will,
but
I had to be firm
which player
and
do you
make
think
sure that I
the
was
best?
able to, fulfill my.
Wow, that's a very nasty question, I think. The best player, because, I mean, you worked with at least 52 of them this year.
Exactly. And I always said, I mean, I've said to so many people, how can you ask me that? Do you ask coaches that? Who's the best
And
player?
they never do. They never do, Rene.
And why are they asking me?
Yeah.
I mean, the World Rugby has announced, I mean, Peter Steptoe was, the player of the year.
Thank you. Good, safe answer. I like that. Yeah.
And he so deserved it. But so did the others that were nominated.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have been just as excited if Eben got it or Cheslin. I mean, it would have been phenomenal
Absolutely.
for any of those players.
Rene, I want to ask you, because as somebody pointed out, the obvious is that you're a woman in a sport. In this particular instance, you're in a male team environment. And I mean, I personally think that is such a fantastic advert for women in sport. So maybe you want to talk to that and talk to your position on women in sports, because I mean, our Springbok women's team they are climbing that ladder. They are making themselves seen and heard and felt. Gosh, I don't want to be tackled by any of them. But I mean, in terms of top rugby teams, do you see yourself as a bit of a trailblazer? I mean, that might not have been, because I know the kind of person that you are, that might not have been your objective. But you have, whether you like it or not, you've kicked down doors. You have set the example. You are that role model. And how does that make you feel?
Well, first, Jeremy, 100%, you're correct in saying it was never my intention to be a trailblazer and to, break down the barriers for women in rugby. And the fact that you say that, I mean, and I know that for a woman from the Cape Flats, I was never meant to be on the world stage. And to be able to be given the opportunity to be there and to come home with the Webb Ellis trophy to our country, beautiful country, twice.
Yeah, don't forget.
And to see the impact. That has probably been the most special thing for me. And to know that I've given girls on the Cape Flats hope, because I'm going to say this, representation matters. I'll say it again. Representation matters. So for women to see women in certain positions, it gives them hope. Hope is not enough. We need people in positions of power to give opportunity, to give women the opportunity. So I'm hoping to see more women involved in rugby and in men's rugby. It doesn't have to be restricted to women's rugby.
No, definitely not.
And increase the number of seats at the table. Don't have it as 1 or 2. We were 4 women in the 2019 World Cup management, the most women in a team at that tournament, and we were successful. And I hope that, at the moment, the numbers are not looking good once I'm gone. So let's hope that there are more women given an opportunity.
Absolutely. I guess the question, or not the question, the intention must be, as you say, increase the number of seats at the table, increase the volume of the conversation, and make your presence felt and known. Your thoughts on women's sports, and I know that you've got a rugby background, but I have loved, and you can ask anybody who listens to this show. We make a point, because that is something that I love doing, is making people understand the importance of the women's game, and how it needs to sit side by side with the men's game. So we have had, hockey, ice hockey, tennis, rugby, golf, cricket, all of those sports. Just talk to us about the growth, and because I know it is growing, the growth of women in sport and women's sports specifically, and what that means, to you.
It's very, very powerful, and thank you, because I know that not only women's sport, but women in general, we are saying you can't dim our shine. We are here, and you're going to have to see us and hear us. And I think that women's sport, particularly women's rugby, has grown phenomenally, but because people have invested in it. So it's not just that women are performing. I think that there has to be more investment. The gender gap is still there. With a female rugby player and a male rugby player, and that gap has to be narrowed. And I think it's powerful when we have men, like Sia did now with our women's team. That's powerful. We need men to join forces. And what you're saying, giving a voice and giving exposure to women's sport is so important and so powerful. And we have to continue doing it. Yep. We've done a lot. We've made strides, but there's still a long way to go. Absolutely.
Talking to Rene Naylor, Springbok team physio. There's a lot of questions. I've almost had to sort of find another folder for it. There's a lot of questions because there's a lot of interest, local and international, around Rassie Erasmus. There's a lot of association with him and how he has reinvented the Springbok, turned the corner. And as you say, we are no longer the underdog. We're not always necessarily the favorite team going into a tournament, because there's some really good teams out there. But what has been your experience of working with him these last 2 World Cup campaigns? Your takeaway in terms of the kind of individual that he is, the kind of creative approach to problem solving and to getting the result that he has, brought to the table. All of a sudden, there's a 7-1 bench split and everybody loses their minds. But that's one example of I'm sure, Rassie on just a normal Monday.
Yes, I like the way when you speak about Rassie, you go to your head.
Yeah, because you've got to. He's in your head.
So, yes, Rassie's been a phenomenal leader, and really performance of any team starts with leadership. You can have phenomenal talent, but if you don't have leadership that is bold enough to bring that together, you won't have success and performance. So he's been phenomenal in creating that. The word he used to use, alignment, our alignment camps. And I said, gosh, that's a big word for a guy from dispatch, alignment. Yes. But yes, we had alignment camps where we sat around a table and brought those goals together, that we all had an understanding of where we're going with the team for the season. And that has been from 2018 right up until the last message to us from him this season was, the next time you hear from me is about the alignment camps, to get us on the same page. Yeah. And then I think to do back to back, himself and Jacques, it was the innovation. If you look at the performance cycle of any team, you cannot copy and paste. and think you're going to get the same result, because every other team is also improving and working hard.
Yeah, they're
and
closing
doing
the gap
that.
all the time.
It's a tight gap. I mean, it's 1 point.
Yeah.
We needed to make a point in that 2023 World Cup. And I think it's the innovation that he knew. Keep your DNA, know what your strong points are, stick to your strong points, but there must be some innovation. And he has been that creative mind with our bomb squad, with our, 7-1 split, which is a nightmare for a medic.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That we, and I think that's when, you really lose your ego and you say, let's put the team first and let's think, and you begin to trust each other, and trust evolves over time. You can't, you trust people when you meet them until they prove otherwise, but it's about that trust that this is going to work.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, the best thing about a leader, and what I've learned from Rassie and Jacques, they are prepared to admit they've made a mistake.
Yeah.
Which is bold for a leader. And that is what, that authenticity that comes through is that actually makes players want to perform well and to trust that we all buy into the game plan.
Rene Naylor, Springbok team physio, in studio with us on Super Saturday. Rene. Oh, JC says, please write a book. Jesse's just talking to us all the time. I can tell you now. People are just talking to us on an ongoing message kind of thing here. Thank you. Thank you for coming in today. Thank you for, I think, even sacrificing family over the last 16 years. Thank you for, we'd be watching games and anxious, and you'd be smiling. And a lot of people go, I watch the Springboks because of Rene. On this WhatsApp line, people are going that you represent Belhar. You give them hope. I think that if we had to go through all of these messages, we'd be right the way through the chart show with Paul Pladon. And so I think that you are owed a debt of thanks, but a massive debt of thanks. For what you've done for your craft, but also just for the team and for the sport and for the country. And so thank you.
Thank you so much. You make me want to cry. I'm so grateful. Thank you to my community, to all the people out in Belhar that have always supported me, my family that have been instrumental, and just the opportunity to have, been amidst the legends of Springbok rugby has been, it's been powerful for me, and for all the women that have been before me and that will come after me. Thank you.
There we go. Wow. That was about a 2-second interview that just happened to be like 40 minutes long. Rene Naylor, Springbok team physio, in studio on Super Saturday with me, Jeremy Harris.
This is Super Saturday, powered by Hollywood Bets.